a Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 292. The one thing big guys can't beat with Michael Levitz. I cannot wait to get started, but let's first pay the bills very, very quickly. If you haven't read my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? Best compliment I ever got on this book was take the word furniture and mattress out of the book, and you have a great business and marketing book from my friend Doug Stewart. Thank you, Doug, for that. Testimonial. I appreciate it more than you know. If you want a sales book, and I will grant you that Sell a Million sounds like a sales book, but if you want a sales book, here's the sales book. Miles and miles of retail selling greatness, 43 years of my experience, and 11 other co-authors. My dear friends, Jeff Janakovo, Chris Tahaney, Scott Vaughn, Brent Batterman, Mark Klingenberg, Jonathan DiPrenzio, Steve Carnes, Mel Opp, Justin Trumbo, Keith Castanguy, and Steve Carnes all contributed chapters to this book. And guys and gals, if you are a sales manager and you do a weekly training, grab this book, grab it. It's 3 years worth of half-hour Saturday morning sales meetings. The other half hour you can use to discuss the contents of the chapter. So grab it on Amazon. And my dear friend and the best producer in the world is keeping me on track, because he knows when it comes to me, whatever's on the screen, I'm going to read. Mattress RSAs and store owners, your stories do deserve to be told. Your success stories, we want them. Chris Tahaney wants them. Email those success stories of how you had a great outcome with a customer to mattressrsastories@gmail.com. Again, all one word, mattressrsastories@gmail.com. And I know what you might be thinking. You know what? I've got this great sales guy, sales girl. They made a big difference in the lives of a customer, but they're too shy. Write it up and send it in for them. And guys, you don't have to be a great author. Chris Tahaney, among his many skills and attributes, is a great writer. He will write it up. All you got to do is send what you got into him at mattressrsastories@gmail.com, and Chris will send you back a copy of what he wrote for your approval. And if your story is chosen, you will be in the book. So guys and gals, please get behind this. It is a great way to elevate what we do for our industry. It's a great way to communicate with our consumers and with our fellow sales professionals, what we do and what this industry is really all about. So get behind this project. What else we got, Chris? Oh, MRT Toolkit. One of my favorites. I belong to this group. If you don't, just go to mattressretailertoolkit.com, or there's going to be a QR code that you can hit in a little bit. But there's live trainings. There is all kinds of stuff. And by the way, if you use that QR code, I think you get a month free You get the lowest price plus a month free. So hit that QR code. If you haven't joined Mattress Retailer Toolkit, if you own a mattress store or you own a furniture store who's serious about the mattress business, hit that QR code. It's also perfect for industry influencers, sales reps like me, and industry leaders. So if you want to know what's going on, join Mattress Retailer Toolkit. I think it's still under $100 a month, which is insane for the value that you get. So hit that QR code and join Mattress Retailer Toolkit. And as you can see, my producer is moving me right along. I want to thank Steve and Greg for sponsoring the show. If you feel like sometimes you might be alone, you really need to join Mattress Industry Network group. It's a free Facebook group, guys and gals, over 3.3 thousand people in it, 3,300. If you want to learn how to build, sell, and succeed in the mattress industry, join this group. It's a great group, and I get in there a couple times a week. Without a further ado, Michael, welcome to the show.
How you doing today, Pete? How you doing?
I'm better than I deserve, my friend, and I cannot wait. So for all of my former alumni from the show that my process, I do not talk to my guests before the show about the show. We just roll, right?
Neat.
So that everything that's going to happen in the next hour is going to be real. It's going to be authentic. It's going to be timely. And don't forget, if you guys have questions, just get them, post them, whether you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, wherever you are, post it. My producer, Chris Stone, will grab it. Monica, thank you. Nice haircut, Pete. Happy Monday morning. That is a first in over 300 episodes, if you count my very first podcast, that somebody's commented on my hair. So, Monica, thank you. You are overly kind and overly generous. So I have to tell everybody something. I'm a little starstruck today. So anyone who doesn't know, if like you're a newbie to the furniture business and you don't know what that last name means, that is royalty in our industry. That was a storied chain of stores that people spoke of in reverent tones when I got into the business in 1982, and for a long time. So Michael, thank you, and thank your family for your contributions to our industry. I mean, the good things that I've heard over the years are amazing, and I'm super excited to have you on the show.
I appreciate all the kind words, and our family did a good job in the industry. And that picture you had up, I wasn't in that picture. I was only 3 years old in that picture. And on the far left, that's my grandfather, Leon. Right next to him would be my father, Gary. I think he was about 27, 28 years old in that picture. That's a picture from, I think, 1967 when the Levitz Furniture in Dallas, Fort Worth, Stemmons Freeway opened. Standing, if you go farther all the way to the far right, that would be my great-grandfather, R.B. Levitz, and he was the one who started the first Levitz Furniture back in 1910, back in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. So our family goes back quite a ways doing this, but I was 3. I remember kind of that store being built. One of my earliest memories was actually walking, being on my father's shoulders when they were walking through it, and it first time I got to see tilt wall construction really built. The walls were up, but there were no ceilings. So it was pretty interesting from there, but quite a long furniture history though.
So you're younger than me, but you have me beat by 4 years. And I got a suspicion that you were probably putting bed frames together when you're probably about 5 or 6.
Well, yeah, officially, my first official paycheck came from a company in Phoenix, Arizona. It was after the company went public, and pretty much some of the family bailed from the company, sold their stock, and went their own thing. My dad went out to Phoenix, and I got some experience out there at MD Pruitt's, and That was yeah, that first paycheck, I was what, about 14, 15, I can't quite remember. And boy, I met a lot of really great people back there. And that was some of the people, one of my favorite persons I ever knew. And a lot of people here, they might know him or might not know him, but Donald Stombree Stormy, boy, he was one of my best mentors. And I know, I think there's someone on your hangs out here on your Gordon. I know Gordon Hecht, who you know quite well. Oh, there he is. Yep, I just was mentioning
There's
him.
Gordon. Yep. Gordon, I love you, brother. Gordon Hecht says, great to see you in my old Las Vegas and Ashley buddy. Michael Levitz, looking forward to your wisdom.
Yeah, we came out.
We
the Lawhorn Company, we purchased some stores out there that I guess was Gordon was with. I'm trying to remember everything, but I do remember Gordon was he was a great guy. Loved meeting him. He took me out to a UNLV basketball game and had dinner with his family and stuff. It was great knowing him and everything. That was I was out there a couple months just doing some systems conversions and things like that, getting the systems up for the new company they just bought them.
That's awesome. So listen, you've been at this for 47 years. So I'm a rookie at 44 years, a newbie, wet behind the ears compared to you. So what are the biggest changes that you've seen over the years?
Just, I have to say technology, but it's from the beginning. I mean, I remember when Levitz Furniture, I was playing, around they were first starting with some old IBM computers then, and they used to keep everything on these little index cards that ran through a machine. And then you just get into, as companies grow and the technology boom, there's trying to keep up with it and trying to, make sure the next guy isn't using it better than you are as you go, and just keeping up with it. But some things haven't changed. I mean, I swear we're still selling $3.99 sofas 40 years later, and I don't know how we're doing it, but we're doing it, and there's still a $2.99 mattress. It's like the price of gasoline used to be $0.25 and now it's $5, but we sell a sofa for the same thing. It's just quite amazing.
Yeah, and amazing, not in the greatest of ways, right?
Yeah.
So technology's changed. One of the things that always has struck me, Michael, is like when I became a Serta rep, I was in retail my first 9 years. So 82 to 91, I was in retail. And then I was lucky enough to get on board with Serta Mattress Company in 1991. And, I became an expert because of my mentors, Bob Sherman, Jeff Allen, and Barbara McKay. I became an expert on advertising in the newspaper, eventually direct mail, but we had to be good at radio advertising and TV advertising. Now the media is like all flip-flopped. I mean, there's media out there today that most stores use that didn't even exist back then, right? Like, Facebook, Google.
The targeting you can do is amazing these days. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is crazy. So we got technology, we got media. What else has changed?
Well, I mean, supply chains have changed a little bit over the course too, chasing around tariffs and things like that. I mean, we've all watched Ashley move factories to 3 or 4 different countries, just chasing, getting ahead of, where things come from, and just learning supply chain from that company itself is amazing. What they can do and everything. Obviously, I spent quite a few years as a licensed, operator with them and doing the Dallas, Fort Worth, and El Paso, and just, they were just a great choice to go with because there was no one doing it better than them at the time.
Yeah, I've never worked for those guys, but I've admired them for a long time, and I still do. They are absolutely the best at supply chain. Ron has proven time and again, and his son Todd, and their executive team, that they are willing to look ahead of the curve and almost create the curve. I mean, it's unbelievable how if you want to know where the business is going, watch what they're doing, because that's where it's going. And they have always had great vision as a company. I'll never forget this. I got to share this, guys. This has got nothing to do with mattresses, but there's a lesson here. So you'll remember this. Do you remember when Ashley rolled out with the Queen Anne cherry and oak tables of 580s and the 570s?
Yeah.
And do you remember when they rolled out with 2-week delivery and the entire industry said, BS, can't happen, won't happen. They'll never live up to it. They're embarrassing themselves putting those ads in Furniture Today, and bigger than life, they lived up to it. They're one of the few guys that actually can deliver weekly right now. They are amazing on the supplies.
Yeah, just say they're, they are. They're taking over just as far as the supply chain and everything. They're getting stores everywhere. They're the supplier, they're the retailer, they're everything in between.
Yeah. And their ops, which I mentioned just now, their ops are second to none. So you spent a lot of your career as kind of like the bigger guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I've worked for a few little independents in between other jobs and stuff, but basically, I was always the big guy. We always had all the systems, we had all the best, tools in place, and we were, trend setting and ahead of everyone. When Over the Top came out, we were all over it, and I actually found getting the radio wasn't. When we were here in Dallas, radio was real difficult just because it was such a fragmented market, but when you can segment and do different things with Over the Top, go right into certain customers' homes and stuff like that, it's kind of crazy and spooky at the same time what the technology is like.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the things that I mentioned in my book Sell a Million, which I actually published in 2015. It's truer today than it was true when I wrote the book. You have to be the marketer of your business. Even if you have a bigger business and you've been successful in extracting yourself from some of the day-to-day stuff, you still have to be the marketer of the business. You have to understand marketing. And that's a full-time job these days because it's changing at the speed of light. It's changing so fast that it's hard to keep up with, the Google slaps and the algorithm changes and the different things that happen from time to time. But here's a question that's maybe not a very fair question. So if you were hired as a consultant by your best friend and he said, no, you got to take the money. So here's $100,000. Give me your best advice for winning in today's environment. What would you say to him or her?
Well, I mean, what most people are forgetting about these days, and it was the one thing that always kept any company my family had rather successful over the time, and it's not going forward. It's not how you bring more people in or how you attract more people. Money will always win that game. You can always get the technology, but the one thing you need to turn around and look at is you need to come back and look at your own customers that you've already sold. You've already spent the money on those customers. You've already done what it takes to earn their trust. Hopefully you took care of them all the way. And, most of the people listening here are smaller companies, more independent companies. You work with a lot of mattress people. Obviously your stuff's geared with mattress, but your stuff translates all over to, retail in general. But the smaller people can do more than the big companies can as far as keeping their customers happy, keeping the relationships, making sure you go that extra mile and do the things the big guys won't do, can't do just because of their scale. I go back to, I'm reminded of, some things haven't changed, and just the only thing that's changed is the technology to make the old things work like they used to. And I go back to a person who first really taught me about how to take care of customers and make sure they're okay. And it was this guy named Sarge. And this was back at John F. Lawhon, and he worked in Phoenix at the big showroom there. And they called him Sarge because he was ex-military, but he was about 6'5" and about 250 pounds. He was a very, very omnipresent type person. And when you first walked in, you just didn't understand how he did business. But someone would walk in, he didn't say, "Hi, how are you today? What's going on?" or any of the typical "Can I have a?" He would not give them a chance to give them a bad answer. He'd go, "Living room or bedroom?" And it was kind of funny because you couldn't say yes or no, or and if you said, "I'm just looking," and he goes, "I understand, for living room or bedroom," he would just not let you say, and he would go on from there. But I realized something on the slower days and things like that. This guy always had customers. And I started really noticing when he had other customers come back and he knew them by name. He didn't say living room or bedroom. He said, "How are you enjoying that living room you bought? You ready for the bedroom?" Or something similar to that. He took control. He knew what they bought. And I was very young. This was back in 80, 82, 83, 84, somewhere back in that area. But I started realizing that's the real foundations of keeping the business going during the slow times, is making sure all your previous customers know they're happy. And that's from the sales side. On the operation side, you go through and make sure they're always taken care of. I mean, we always went beyond the mile to take care of a customer, make sure they're happy. Sure, you have crazy customers and you end up doing things you shouldn't do to make them happy, but they keep coming back when you take care of them. That was one of the things that when I was doing the bigger companies, we always did. And when I was no longer part of those companies, those were the first things that people that took over from us forgot and left behind. And I got a long laundry list of companies that my family and me have left that aren't here anymore shortly after we left, because they abandoned a lot of the principles that kept us going where we were going.
So I guess the question to our store owners is, are you mining the gold in your customer list?
Yeah, that's basically where I'm going. And that's, when I say the one thing you can beat the other people out is they they mine the list in a very methodical way. They're gonna, a year from purchase, send out something. They're gonna send out the thank you card 30 days afterwards. But I mean, and I'm sure a lot of people out here, they're saying they're sending out the personalized thank you cards, but are you really doing that? I mean, have you looked at your list of customers for the last year, and then when's the last time you've even made contact with them? A lot of the smaller guys aren't doing that. It's so easy to do it. You just get your list out and go through it. And then when's the last time you've really gone through and talked to your customers? And I know in mattresses it's a little bit harder. Furniture, you got a whole lot more reasons to talk to them, different rooms to fill. Mattresses, the buying cycles are different, but there's different products you have. They have more than one room in the house, and there's different things you can do to have them come back in the store. There's ways you can work with them, but you really need to mine your old customer base. Then also make sure you're taking care of all the ones that do buy from you too, as far as following up on their reviews and make sure you're talking to them. Simple things that everyone needs. They know they need to do, but Monday morning comes along, you know what you need to do, but all of a sudden you get this phone call. You got to take care of this problem. This salesperson didn't show up, so you got to deal with that. This office girl has this problem, and then all that stuff you thought you were going to do, you can't. You drop the ball and don't get it done. And I'll get to that. So, and we all know who it is. We've all run our stores. We've all been on that side, and it's just life happens. The business happens, and all the stuff you need to have happen. Sometimes you've got to prioritize it, where to put it. So we just need to make sure we don't forget about those things. Everyone can do it.
That's a great reminder, Michael. The opposite of heaven is going to break loose, and you have to have systems in place that kind of catch some of this stuff that you've prioritized. Steve Hauk said, "Good morning, gentlemen." Good morning, Steve. Thanks for sponsoring the show, my friend, and thanks for all you do for our industry. Is this Tommy? Mike, do you feel that the sales staff and retailers have seen diminished customer service skills due to a dependence on technology?
Well,
boy, I'm
you
biting
probably
my tongue right now. I'm going to let you. You're the guest. You go. But
I'm
going after you go.
I know Tommy, and Tommy probably can attest that our family was always good with customers and things like that, because he's one of my ex-customer service managers that I used to have in one of my companies over at Ashley. And I think before we've worked 2 companies with me, I'm pretty sure. But No, yeah, because you're getting a lot of automated stuff turned back. The whole people process is going, and you'll see. I mean, I've seen it. The first place they want to save money is they're going to pay for the technology and let the people go and not take care of them as personally as they could. So yes, and a lot of just technology will also give people, they look at profit and loss statements and look at just numbers only and forget about how important the people are that are in all those numbers, the customers and the employees too.
100%. And Tommy, and I'm going to get to Dave's question. Tommy, I would say this right here has hurt us as a society. I don't think that our people skills across the board, forget about our industry, people skills are lower than they've ever been. And I've been blessed to work with some extraordinary people, and they had a way they held their eyes, they had a way that they engaged you, and they leaned forward, and they wanted to get to know you, and they wanted to understand what you're saying to them, and they wanted to help. And you could see that, and you could feel it, and it was palpable, and it was part of them. That's very rare these days. It's very rare. So, Tommy, thank you for your question. It's a great question. I think the bigger question is, what do we do about it? But Dave, here comes Dave. What's one outdated training habit around mattresses that you think RSAs should move away from? That's a great question.
Boy. I'm not quite sure. I'm trying to, that one caught me a little off guard there. One outdated RSA training. It's hard to say because the last time I was in the mattress business, we were using quite up-to-date technology with the sleep sensors and everything. When I was doing the last the mattress Levitz mattress company we had, I think it's real similar to what the guy on Snooze is using now and those sleep tests. So we were doing our whole program completely different than a lot of the old outdated. So I mean, I don't know if I'm really qualified to answer that because the last time I did it, we were doing it for a couple of years. I was using all different types of training systems. I was, you was Pete, you as a rep, I had all the reps in there. I mean, that's the training systems too. Like that's a tricky question because the mattress is still a mattress. Do you have any thoughts on that, Pete?
Yeah, Chris, go ahead and pull that up again. It's a great question. One
I
outdated
wanted to read it again
training
too.
habit around mattresses that you think RSA should move away from. So, Dave, this is this is my take. And Dave, thank you for being here. And Dave's a top 100 buyer. He's a very talented guy. I think I've been doing a lot of training for top 100s almost every weekend here. And one of the things that I keep hearing myself say is, I'm not here to help you sell my brand of mattresses. I'm here to help you help your customers have a better experience. And in addition to that, you guys are going to sell a lot more better quality mattresses, and your customers are going to be a lot happier. But I'm not here just to throw up my company propaganda on you. And so, will I give that to your salespeople? Yes, I will. But how do we help our salespeople elevate their game? How do we, instead of teaching them about this doohickey that goes that way or this higher density foam that does this, why not talk about what are the best open-end questions? What are the best qualifying questions? How do we establish value? Our technical prowess has diminished in 40 years. It really has. And there are some really exciting trainers in our industry. I can't recommend Brent Batterman enough. I can't recommend Uncle Munkle. I think Uncle Munkle's trainings are among the best in the industry. And I'm sure there's somebody that I'm leaving out, but Brent and Uncle Munkle are the two guys that come to the very forefront. And if I owned a mattress store or I owned a furniture store that was serious about mattresses, I would really, really encourage them to hire an outside trainer, not just company reps, because most company reps, they've got a script, they read their script, they go away, they say, I've done a meeting. I was pulled aside. I had a store manager who wouldn't let me go yesterday. He said, Pete, I love your passion. I love the caring. I love the fact that you want to help our salespeople be better and it's not just about your product. Thank you for caring about our business. So,
yeah, the secret too. Some of it too is like making sure, a lot of training and everything is more sales, and obviously the stores have got to make money, and you want to sell the most profitable items, but when your people are too geared to selling certain products that are better for the store and not better for the customer, that's where you're going to lose. And a lot of the some of the new technology out there just helps get the customer even to open up and let them know what they really want out of a mattress. I mean, we want to sell them what they want and what they're going to be happy with in the long run.
Yep. Amen. Amen. Great questions. Thanks. Thank you, audience. Tommy, I agree. You were always committed to making sure we took care of the customers. No exceptions. Tommy,
Thank you, Tommy.
I love the fact that after all these years, you're here to support your friend. That is really great. And that speaks volumes about you, Michael. It really does.
Well, I mean, our policies were what they were. We didn't make that. I don't make that up. That's just, we always took the customers first, and then next were your employees. But, you got to take care of the people, or, the people won't take care of the business.
Yeah. Amen. Always take care of your people first and foremost. I've gotten in real big debates about that, and your people have to eventually take care of your customers, who are the other people we have to. Becky Woolman from Somerset, Kentucky. Thank you, Becky, for being here. Brad and I took the Uncle Munkle training. It was awesome. I learned so much. Well, thank you. And I am sure Uncle Munkle thanks you too. All right. So, what advice would you give somebody today?
Well, I mean, first thing to do, can you bring up that scorecard for me, Pete? Or
I can't, but Chris can.
Chris can. Yeah, I don't know. I have no buttons, but you can go back and give yourself a quick little health check, just to see how you're doing and how you're reaching out and how you're sitting in front of your other customers. And this stuff is very simple. I mean, but a lot of us forget what the simple things are that we need to go through. And this is, I'm not sure if you can put the link up, but this is something free you can go through even later. It's we basically I put this up just so you can give yourself a little scorecard of how you're doing with your customer relations and your post sale and things like that. And it's real simple. Some of it's stuff that's just technology related, like is your Google profile right? You'd be surprised how many people don't even know what their Google profile says about them. And are you all the way across? There's so many different places where your directories are found. Most people are wrong where you just clicked yes, because most people don't know what Apple Maps, Yelp, and everything else has on file. They haven't even gone and looked at it. And do you show up in the near me? When you click furniture stores near me, how far out do you show up? Have you even checked? When's the last time you even went and said furniture stores near me while you're sitting in your own store and see what pops up and the ratings that go with it? Now, next, do you have a steady flow? Now it goes right to the ratings. Do you have a steady flow of ratings? Are you soliciting ratings? Are you getting them? Most people say yes, but they aren't. Are you rating above 4? You can't answer all these yes, or someone's going to get an A. but do you reply to every review? I guarantee almost no one does. They say they do, but they don't. You can go on and look at everyone's reviews, and they'll go 2 months and then go answer them all at once. They're not doing it on a daily basis and checking on people's stuff regularly. Do you have a regular cadence on Facebook? Well, most store owners, they'll say yes because they'll dump 10 posts all in one day. That's not a regular cadence. That's like, when I have time, I'm going to do it. Does my page look active? Is there someone out there watching it every day, responding? Usually not. You're too busy. Or if you might have your wife might be able to do comments. You answer your comments. Sure, you answer those. Boom. Then you go on. Are you capturing your leads? Is it easy to get a hold of you? Most people, it's easy to book a call and get in. Real, that one's easy. As long as you answer your phones. Do you get a fast response? If you miss a phone call or get a message, are you calling them right back? I mean, who knows? How busy you are? You might be the only guy in the store and you got a customer for an hour. Who knows? You're not getting right back with them then. They've already maybe gone on and found someone else by that point. You have web forms. Most people don't even know what that answer is. Missed calls, slip through. Do you have receptionists or do you have office people? It's just to grade yourself. Every store is completely different. You're going to answer this differently. So, once you get done, let's see here. Capture customer. Let's see, customer. You own your list. Oh, that's usually a yes. You have your list, but how active is it? Let's see. Do you follow up with past buyers? Do you send them a thank you note? Do you call them back later? Do you check on them? Who knows? Do you reactivate that list? Most people don't. Don't do any of that. They're just too busy. Now, here basically is your scorecard, and it tells you the answers on them. And obviously, you can go back and take this test any way you want. Answer truthfully. He was just pushing buttons as we went through. This one says you easily found, but you can do better in these categories. And if you scroll down just a little bit farther, it'll give you a suggestion where to go. Obviously, you want to be trusted first. We got to go back and fix your, if you're not doing your Google reviews and answering that, and your Google profiles aren't right and stuff. So when people go to find you today, especially if you're an independent and they're not seeing your ads 100 times on the TV, where are they going to find furniture? They're going to Google searching you. So you got to make sure that's perfect. Then you also got to, take care of all the little things that go with it. Then we go back in and, you fix that stuff first. This is all stuff you can take care of on your own. You don't need any help to get any of that done. So basically you just, look in yourself. And, I like to tell people just, when's the last time you've looked at your list?
Yeah. Great advice. And I'll tell you, you went through that pretty quick, Michael, but this idea that you're going to pay attention today, but not tomorrow, it doesn't work. All of these different platforms have algorithms that you can't beat the algorithm. You need to show up consistently. You need to get feedback consistently. You need to add reviews consistently. You're not going to just dump a bunch of stuff in there at once and magic is going to happen. You might end up getting yourself penalized, actually.
Yeah,
So,
you can do things wrong in the algorithms and be penalized, and that's kind of what I'm trying to help some people do. I mean, I'm here to help people do all they can do for free, but some people don't have time to do it, and we've got the systems set up that can help automate some of this, and they're going to be tailored to your business, the way they should be, because everyone's got a slightly different business. There's not one cookie cutter approach fits all, and garbage in, garbage out when it comes to a lot of these systems. They're run by AI. There's a lot of AI assistance going on, but AI only knows what you tell it, and you got to give it the knowledge to know what to do, how to do it, and how to react in our business. And there's some unique situations and things that happen, especially in the home furnishings and mattress business, that a lot of these people don't understand that you can't just set up a regular system to do it. You can, and a lot of these systems you can set up yourself and have them all do yourself. It's really not that hard, but it's the time to get to set up and actually taking the time and teaching your AI exactly what you need it to do.
well, and that leads me to this. The more successful we are at creating leverage for our business, the more successful we're going to be. We have to create leverage. There's only so many hours in the day, and instead of you recreating the wheel, if somebody's already done it and you can tap into that, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, we all know what needs to be done, and we know when we need to do it. It's all of us who are individuals just don't have the time to get it done all the time. And some of the things we can do it better than a lot of the other companies if we just put our mind to it, because they just can't, always get it done. I go back to my Sarge guy, we all know the 80-20 rule and things like that. And it's really in this industry, it's almost more like a 90-10, but you got if you think about it as a company owner, these big companies, they only have a few people, who are these Sarges who do all the systems right, who keep their customers coming back and doing all that they're supposed to. 80% of the people there aren't doing it. And as a business owner, even if you're in a mid-sized business, that's 80% of your customers who aren't getting the follow-up, who aren't getting treated right, who are getting forgotten about. Now, the smaller the business, the more you can manage that. You can narrow that gap to almost nothing if you want to. So it's all, and that's, you think about, if you could get the 80% to perform like the 20, boy, it'd be great. But unfortunately, the 80-20 rule always works. It just never seems to change. But, when there's only a couple of you in a small store, you can make sure you hit 100% of your people and they all get taken care of. I always wonder, it's like, how much business is lost, just because the customer walked in and got the wrong person.
Yeah, no doubt. Jacksonville Bedden, this must be my friend RJ. RJ asks, after everything you've seen in the industry, do you think today's furniture business has forgotten something your generation understood about truly taking care of the customer?
Well, that's yes, because there's so much being done in the furniture business and mattress business now where the customers not even getting talked to. It's all electronic. So yeah, it is a generational thing. I know some people who are quite young and friends of my children and stuff like that. And they don't even walk into stores sometimes. They never talk to a person once when they get something, then they get it and they're unhappy. And some of these companies, they don't always stay around. They just had to throw money at it, and some of them aren't here anymore, and some of them are. They got lucky and had a good enough product where the people did like it. But it's really like like Pete held up the beginning of the episode. This little thing right here has desensitized a lot of people. How many people text now instead of just picking up the phone and calling someone? I used to hate texting. Now I'm just as guilty as everyone else. I'll text someone first before I call them, and I used to always call first.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Michael, because my daughter wanted to teach me how to text, and I said I'm never going to text. Most of my orders I receive by text.
Yeah,
and so I got forced into it.
You can't.
I got forced into it. So the good Lord has a sense of humor.
I remember the first time I found the first useful time for a text message, though. I was like, well, I can see the point of this. And I was at a really loud rock show and I couldn't talk to anyone. We had text messaging and it worked. It's like, okay, I can see the use for this. And now look where we're at. It's the only way we talk to people.
Yeah. RJ, when's the last time you shopped a competitor, whether it was a furniture store or a mattress store, and this is what you saw? Hi, welcome. That's what you get. 90% of what you get when you shop today is that. And I'm going to say this to everybody here. That is disgusting, my friends. That it sucks so bad. You have no idea of how embarrassed I am for the industry that I love when I see that. And it doesn't happen to me because they know who I am. But I hear about it often. My friend Scott Vaughn, he will go off. If Scott was watching this today, he would be going off right now, telling you that, preach it, Pete, because that's what you see. Head down in that damn smartphone, which is making us dumb. Go ahead.
You sure Michael, they're just not mirroring they're mirroring the customer? That's all they're doing, because the customer's walking in doing the same darn thing and Googling everything you have, trying to check your prices. And it's like, no, I agree with you. It's like, that was one thing that was forbidden anywhere in my stores. You couldn't have your cell phone on the floor, unless, when you're greeting the customer. Sometimes you'd have to pull it out to get contact information and stuff like that. But yeah, that's horrible. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So there's a lot of room for us to improve, RJ, and thank you for all you do at your two stores to help elevate the game. And provide good examples of customer service and really reaching out to the customer. You know, you said something that's so important, Michael. You talked about consistency between profiles. I would say consistency throughout your entire business is one of the things that I preach about all the time. So, from the time your customer does find you, usually on a smartphone, they find you on the smartphone, they go to your website, they see your social media, to the time they walk into your store, they should be saying the things that should be said to them, and the things that they see should be consistent. And so when they walk into your store, it should not be like this is something new and different. It should be, oh, I've been here before. Like this feels like home because I've been here. I've been to the website. I've been to the Facebook pages. I've been to all the social media pages. And this is consistent with everything that I've seen. And that is incredibly huge. It's incredibly huge to communicate with our sales staff. Never, ever should an ad go out that your salespeople were not briefed about at least a week prior to it. And certainly the day that it breaks, everybody should be briefed. This ad's breaking. Here's what it's saying. Here's the message. Here's the image we're using. This is what we're saying to our customers. It's incredibly huge. You know, Michael, as I look back on my career, and I always wanted to understand what the best RSAs did versus the worst RSAs. One of the hallmarks of it is that the best RSAs can't wait to get in. They want to be the first person in. Sometimes they're beaten like the manager, and sometimes they have to be given a key to the store because they want to get in that early. And they're always the last to leave. And it's not because they don't like their wife or their children. It's just that they are passionately involved in their business, and they are always finding something to do. And that brings me to one of my pet peeves in this life. If you're a sales pro working the retail floor, there's always something to do, even if it's going through your customer list and saying, hey, thank you. I saw that you bought here a few months ago. Hey, I'm just calling to make sure everything's good and to see if there's any questions that I can answer for you.
How are you enjoying it?
How are you did that?
How are you enjoying what you purchase? Are you enjoying it? You know, a lot of people are scared to find out because they don't want to, you know, find out they're not enjoying it. Well, if they're not enjoying it, well, how do you make that experience better for them? I mean, just, you know, you care. The better salespeople care about their customers. It's not like, oh, you know, they don't go, the better salespeople, you don't see them like doing the high five in the back. Oh, I just closed the big one, you know, and then move on to the next deal and like, and forget about their customers. They're making notes about their customers. They're writing down the customer's wife's name, the children's name. So next time they talk to them, they know all that stuff, you know, and it's little things like that. It's almost impossible to train the best salespeople how to do it. And I've even tried to take the best salespeople, make sales trainers and managers out of it. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. There's something unique about the really, really good ones.
The great ones, they are wonders of nature. They are the Olympic athletes of the business world. They are the ones that generate all the revenue, and they have some unique qualities. They may not be the best corporate citizens. They're selfishly productive. They fight for their customers. I mean, they will fight you tooth and nail on anything and everything when it comes to their customers. And yes, a lot of times, most of the time, they will not. Their temperament doesn't allow them to be a great sales manager or store manager. It takes a unique, a really top performing retail salesperson rarely makes a great sales manager.
That reminds me of a story just right off the cuff. It was a sales manager I remember he was one of our best sales managers. His name was Alan Harrell Sr., and his son Junior worked for us too. But he was like one of our best salespeople at the RoomStore for the longest time, and he'd become an assistant sales manager in the store. And I remember me and my father at the time, we had a question regarding the light fixtures up at the entryway, and we called him up and we're like, well, we forgot what kind of bulbs and stuff does that use? And we started asking all sorts of things like, well, I don't know what's up there. I have no clue what kind of fixtures up there. It's like, what's your store? You're there every day. You greet every customer at that front door. How come you don't remember the light fixture? And he went, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Levitz. Well, there's no customers up on the ceiling. That was the end of that. It's like, okay, you got it.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, you got me.
It's like, okay.
Michael, this flew by like just in a few minutes, and I'm sure there's a question that I should have asked you, but I didn't. Is there a question that I should have asked you, but I didn't?
I'm trying to think. We're just going off the cuff here, and I'm basically not really. I mean, I'm here to help, anyone who wants some help, you can reach out to me. I love giving some free advice. If people need more than that, I'm willing to help too. But as far as, it's like everyone needs to just go out there and make sure they work their list. I mean, if you want to do the best thing for you, you can go spend more money. There's lots of guys who've got great advertising programs. I'm not knocking any of that, because you do have to get fresh customers in all the time. But let's go back, especially like in the middle of the week when it's slow. Just like Pete said, pick up that phone. To have your salespeople pick up the phone and just call someone and talk to them. Everything starts with that conversation, that relationship with the customer. You can't forget about them. It's your gold mine. You've spent all your money. You've spent, I don't know how much, what your cost per customer is to get in the door. You've already got them there. Let's make sure you keep them. Make sure they're happy. Make sure that, that when they think of doing something next, that you're the first person they think of, and that's who's going to call.
So, Michael, is your cell phone 469-445-4496? Is that it?
That's an answering number. I would prefer not to have my cell phone number out there for sure. But yeah, that's the
that's the number they call. That's
the
number they call to leave a message or schedule an appointment.
Correct. Yeah.
469-445.
And the best way to
4496.
The best way to schedule an appointment is to use the link on my website, because if there's a time available, I'm available during that time. It's linked to all my other appointments, so it won't give you a time I'm not available to.
Awesome. So if you don't have a question you want me to ask you, I still have questions.
Well, you go ahead.
So
you're asking good ones.
I want to ask you the opposite question. Are there things that you learned over the 47 years that you've been in the business, like when you hear this from a potential sales pro that's going to work your retail floor in an interview, that's somebody I don't want to hire? So I'm asking you for, what is it that you listen for with all your years of experience? When you hear that, you're like, nope, I'm not hiring this person. Because this could help my guys avoid a lot of heartache, because hiring is getting harder and harder to do.
Well, I mean, I'm always thinking about how they're, because they're your face. When they greet a customer and first walk in, that's you. That's your store. That's your brand, and that's who's going to represent your company. And I mean, you want to make sure there's someone with integrity, and you know that when you're sitting there talking to them. The person I don't want is someone who knows everything, knows how to close everyone, and has every closing technique in the book and knows what to do. And I don't want to knock like one of the better salespeople in the world, but if Grant Cardone were to walk in and want a job, I probably wouldn't hire him, because he's just too over the top, and I don't, he lacks the customer sincerity. Now, could he sell, a sand to someone in Egypt? Sure. But, I'm not looking to, I want to sell people, but I want to establish relationships. And that's been the brand of our family, and how we've always conducted ourselves. Yes. We've gotten rid of some people who've been good salespeople who don't represent the business very well. And those are hard to do, but, in the long run, it's the best thing to do. You've just got to make sure that the person there is representing your brand, and you feel that that's who you want meeting your customer. It's not really something they say. It's a feeling you get. You know if they're right for your company or not. If you're a high sales, quick turn type place, and I mean, there's people listening here, that's their sales place. Where not everyone's going to subscribe to the same way I do business either. Obviously.
So when you start to get a feeling about somebody in an interview and it's not a good feeling, you're encouraging our store owners to trust that instinct.
Well, you always trust your first instinct. I mean, I'll tell you what, I've made more mistakes not going with my first instinct than I can tell you about. Usually what happens is you start trying to talk. If you don't follow your first instinct, you're usually trying to talk yourself into something you shouldn't. But that guy can sell, but is he the right guy for your company?
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out a way to talk yourself into it.
That is great advice. Don't try to talk yourself into it. Jason asks, it's a comment. Social media and in-store experience are necessary to beat the big box stores. Social media and in-store experience are necessary to beat the big box stores. 100%.
That's correct. Yes, I would agree. And a lot of the people in some of the smaller stores are having problems with that. And there's simple systems even on the social media where you can schedule your own posts to go out at certain times and do it right and make sure you have a presence. As far as the in-store experience, that starts the second you pull up to your store. I can tell how much pride someone has in their in-store experience and how much in the store as soon as you pull up to the parking lot. I mean, it's like, is their place presentable? Do they clean up in front of their store? You'd be surprised how many stores are dirty in front. Their windows are dirty. You walk in, there's no direction to their store. You have trouble finding their tags. All the little things that just fall apart in the store. I mean, people don't notice what I like to call creeping paralysis. If you go into the same store every day for a year, you don't notice that little mothball or that little dust ball in the corner grow into this giant thing. You don't notice all the little things going wrong in your store. And one little trick, if you got a ladder, this is a fun trick. I used to do this a lot too in my own store. If you got a ladder, get a ladder, open it up. And I used to do this because I used to have to adjust spotlights up. And I won't go into the spotlight story, but you used to have to adjust the spotlights. But one thing I noticed when you're standing up on the ladder, looking at your store from a whole different point of view, you see things you never saw before. You see lampshades crooked. You see cushions all out of whack because you've changed your point of view from where you're looking at it. But every time a customer walks in, it's their first time. They see it the way they see it. So you got to change. You got to change your perspective or open your eyes and not just let your store fall apart.
That is incredibly huge. Change your perspective and look at your business through your customer's eyes, not your own. Jason says, dynamic people who are humble and want to learn the business are the best ones to hire. Yes, dynamic and humble. I like that combination. I've had some really smart guys tell me that if this is somebody you would like to have lunch or dinner with and it feels good, that might be a good hire. You got to check some other boxes, but if you don't want anything to do with this person, but you're just trying to talk yourself into hiring them, as Michael said so well, chances are you shouldn't be trying to talk yourself into it.
My least favorite employee, I hate to say, was the college graduate who knew everything about business, who was coming in and who was going to tell me how to run everything. Like that last comment said, the person who's humble and wants to learn your business and learn how you do things makes the best hire. I completely agree with what he said.
Yeah, humble and dynamic are incredible combination. Jason also says, I always have more success with people who have never sold home furnishings before. Yes, and it's true with mattresses as well. My owners prefer no experience. I
got my best salespeople. It was a store in Salt Lake City, and it was the home corporate headquarters for Nordstrom's. And I used to raid the shoe department and get the best salespeople. They had the best training program. And I take those sales to the shoe salespeople and show them how much more money they could make selling furniture. And boy, they were all over it.
That's great. Waitresses and waiters can make good as long as you can get them to pass a drug test.
That's exactly. That's the problem. They make great
that's the big
salespeople.
one.
They don't pass drug tests. So if you're in a big company, that's a problem. But if you're a small guy, it works.
Speaking of royalty in the business, Jeff Janakovo says, another great show with a great guest. Thank you, Michael.
Well, thank you guys.
Well, we have to say goodbye. If you want to reach out to Michael, call him at 469-445-4496 or email him at mike@levitz.us and US. Gordon, thank you for kicking the show off. Monica, thank you for the haircut comment. Steve Houck, Tommy, Dave, Becky, RJ, and Jason, thank you for your great comments, great questions. And Jeff, thank you for joining us at the end. We really appreciate you. And Gordon says, great show with awesome info. Michael,
thanks, Gordon.
It was awesome, and it was a pleasure and an honor to meet you. Andrew Burt says, thank you, Michael. Great information. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time out of a really hectic schedule that you keep, Andrew, that you make it almost weekly and make a comment or two. Appreciate you guys. Everybody go forth and sell a million. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.